Oh, hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm just getting myself together here, but welcome in another episode of Devereaux Sports. We are live from the Crack Bell Media Studios. We're live on Facebook, and we are live from the beautiful Willow Grove, even though it's a nice rainy day outside. It's always raining here on a Sunday morning when we're doing the show. I don't know if it's me hosting it. I don't know what it is, but we are here live. Mark Warden will be joining us shortly. He'll be coming in. So we're going to go around the round table, of course, to my left, the toothache I'm with, the root canal, my man Chris Thederick. What's up, buddy?
What's going on?
Shut it. And then my man sitting across from me, my man John Lee. What's going on, John?
How you doing? Happy Sunday.
And, of course, the man behind the glass, the man who calls us the B-rated show. Well, we all know how Nate Moss handles this business on this side. We could really use him. But anyway, my man Bob Harnett, what's going on, brother?
Not much, man. I'm just excited to be part of the B show this week, I guess.
Oh, jeez.
And I just wanted to say, too, I didn't like it how you treated our guest. You making him sit in that kid chair, man.
Well, wait a minute. I'm about to get to him.
That's Steve Librand right there.
I was supposed to say his name, not you. I'm supposed to do the introduction to the man, to the hot sauce. No.
Hot sauce. You gave him the hot seat, apparently.
It's a little seat.
It's
My
a little
barely
seat.
fits on it. It's a little tiny seat.
Well, to the man who is the founder and the creator of the Crack Bell Media Studios, the man who got this all running, the man behind all this, the pioneer, Steve Lineberg. How are we doing this morning?
Listen, you guys you're starting a little bit late.
Yes. Oh, this is the norm.
Listen, I'm getting the B show vibe. I know where it's coming from.
Oh, man.
My only question is, my favorite thing about Devereaux Sports is it's almost like wrestling where everybody comes in the door and gets a nickname.
Yeah.
Do I have to submit paperwork to get my nickname?
No, because
is it hot sauce now? Is that my nickname?
Because I watched.
Is it just off the cuff?
Because I watched the Sarcast show. It's a great show. If you guys don't watch it, this guy and Double R will make you laugh. Rob Rodney, they will make you laugh.
He's got a nickname, Double R. I
Double
don't
R.
have a nickname yet.
Yeah, hot sauce. That's how, because whatever comes to your mind, whatever comes to your heart, you just spill it out. I mean, the Philly bracket that we got going on here, I got ridiculed. I'm like, how's this comment? He goes, it's coming from my heart, brother. I'm like, thanks. But anyway, Steve, you are a terrific mind when it comes to sports. So look, we're going to get right into it. Sixers had a big night last night. They took care of an inferior opponent. The other night, they looked a little shaky going into New Orleans against one Steve Adams and that squad, which we thought was going to be another walk in the park. And it turns out they had a little rough going. What happened with the Sixers? And are you confident with this team moving forward, especially going into the playoffs? I mean, they got a tough week coming up. I think they got Brooklyn coming up. How do you see this team filling out?
So, first off, I asked you the question yesterday on the message board. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my shoes off. I'm going to ask Bob to hold my
take
jury.
your shoes off, pants, whatever you got to do.
I'm surrounded by a bunch of anti-Ben guys.
Yes.
So
yes,
hold my jury.
There goes one right there.
Hold my jury.
Yes. Take out the jock strap.
So without getting too in-depth into Ben and what Ben is. So this team is probably going to finish top 3. We don't know. I mean, the Nets are obviously a juggernaut. They're going to win a ton of games. They've got 6 guys on their roster that are max contract guys anywhere else they're at. I mean, it seriously is an issue that the NBA needs to address, with the buyout being the day after the trade deadline happens. You can't have those teams out there thinking, hey, I've got a potential trade in, to get Blake Griffin or to get a LaMarcus Aldridge or whoever these guys are that are in the buyout market. These teams are like, I'm not going to trade you anything because I know you have to buy him out. The agents all talk. We know where we're at. He's going to be free tomorrow. Mm-hmm. They need to do something like if you're going to buy a guy out, his money still counts against your salary cap for the remainder of the year. If you sign a LaMarcus Aldridge and he's a max contract guy, even though you're not paying him that money, you need to fit that money under your salary cap. You shouldn't just be able to bring him in for $700,000 or whatever the veteran minimum is, just hold him on your, because somebody else is already paying him for that year.
Right.
It creates an unfair vacuum where all those players are going to pick the Lakers or the Nets to be the team they go to. And basically the NBA is saying, we're just going to establish who's going to be in the championship in February. So it's bad for the league.
Yeah, I agree there. I mean, because it pretty much looks like it's your NBA East first round. I mean, like, what's the point of even having an All-Star game if it's going to because it looks like everyone's jumping on board with Brooklyn or they're going with the Lakers. And to me, without LeBron, that team. I mean, it looks like it's the Brooklyn's just buying themselves a championship right now. It just looks like they're it's
circumventing the salary cap, which is supposed to level the playing field for everybody. The small market teams get screwed the most, but
right.
I mean, as far as the Sixers going forward, it's going to be a tall task. But I mean, we've seen teams like this, get put together before. It's going to come down to us, Brooklyn, and Milwaukee.
Right.
And whoever winds up playing, I think if we don't finish with the one, we're going to wind up with Milwaukee late, or we finish with the one, we'll play Miami.
Right.
And I think both of those teams added. We didn't. We stayed pat with what we had. We added George Hill, who, I mean, he's going to be a decent backup player on the bench. But, I mean, looking forward, it's going to be a rough 2 months, to be honest with you. Like, I could see us not getting to the conference finals because we're going to have a rough matchup with Milwaukee or the Heat, even to get to Brooklyn. And then whoever comes out of there, Brooklyn's going to coast.
Right. And to me, like I saw Friday night, they went in against New Orleans. They, the streaking, and I would put it as the villain would put it, the streaking 3-point play is questionable. I mean, Steph Curry gave you nothing the Friday night. The team came up, empty-handed. Now, like I said last night, they look great because it's against a team who's not ready, who's looking to lose. OKC is looking to lose. I mean, the Sixers just walked in there for a cup of coffee and handled business and walked out. So, I mean, go ahead.
While all that's true, we got to stop living and dying on every game.
That's true.
Like, we're not at that point now. Like, we're not fighting for the 8th seed. We're the 1 seed, and we're holding on to it firm over the last 3 weeks since Brooklyn added those pieces. We're holding it. We're holding onto it, and we'll get to see what they look like against each other. But I can't imagine that either team is going to show too much of their hand in that game. You're just going to see a very vanilla game. I mean, I obviously we hope to walk out of there with a win, but I can't imagine Brooklyn doing anything that we haven't seen before or whatever. Like,
right. And now the Brooklyn
not going to give 100%. Like, they're going to want that to save it for playoffs.
Now they did lose. I mean, like you were saying, we can't live and die, but I mean, on the other end of it, I mean, these games are telling you, aren't they telling you something about like, watch out for your play? I mean, can this team survive with their streaky 3-point play in the playoffs?
So you'd want them to get up for every single game?
But
it's tough, dude. Like that road record, that road trip that they just went on where they played 10 of 12 games on the road. I think they came home for one, went back out on the road, came home for one. That wears on you. And they held. And they're
I think they came home for 2.
Came home for 2, yeah. So like that road trip that they come off of, like that's a dud game. Like that you're not going to get top performance out of it. People are tired. Like Doc has said 3 times over the last 3 weeks, the guys are tired. Like their legs are tired. They don't have it right now. And they're still holding true. I mean, I think their record over the last, what are they, 7-4 or something like that?
Right.
Over the last 11 or something. Like they're doing what they're supposed to do. And that's all you can ask. Like, in all honesty, I'm not going to live and die with every game. They're going to lose games. They're not going to go undefeated. So,
okay. So, Mark, what do you take away from this Sixers team? What did you see last night, or what did you see on Friday nights? Like that's telling you, you're a little worried.
Well, it's not that I'm worried. It's now like you said, Oklahoma, they trade away all their veterans. They're like a bunch of, they're like a college team basically.
Right.
So that's like you said,
10-day contracts.
Yeah, that was a nothing win. If they would have lost that, then I would have been really concerned. But what I don't like to see, what bothers me most of all is when I see like when Embiid's out or he's having an off game or something. And I've been impressed with Tobias. He stepped up and came to the plate, but there's times Ben, he does not, like, what was it, 5-6 shots? That is unacceptable. I mean, if he went 2 for 12, 15, I would have been happier with that because at least you're attempting it.
But he didn't play the whole fourth quarter.
Right, but I'm talking about it's been a pattern with him in other games. It's not just that one game. I need him as supposedly our second best player to step up, and this is
he's our second best player, but he's not our second best scorer. That's
Tobias is. That's
correct.
True.
So he's not.
But I want him to be. I want those couple guys to step it up.
So if you look at the numbers between Ben and all the other, just compare them to the other point guards, because that's the fairest assumption. You can't say I'm going to compare Ben's numbers to Giannis. They play 2 different positions. Okay. Comparing Ben to LeBron, again, 2 totally different positions. Ben ranks in the top 5 point guards in assists, steals, rebounds. He's up there. He ranks 20th in scoring at 15 points per game.
Right, but in today's NBA, you also need to score point guards.
But if you look at the top 5 point guards that are out there, only 2 are playoff teams. Like you're going to have a guy like Westbrook who fills the stat book. Here's the thing about Ben. We won how many games last year? 50 games the year before. He's going to consistently put you in that 50 game range. That's all you have to worry about. His scoring and what he does enough to get the team wins, and that's what he's here for.
Okay, but it hasn't proved to be a telltale sign in the playoffs.
Sure, but teams with good point guards don't win the playoffs anyway.
Well, Harden, they gave Golden State for a run. But I just need him to step up as one. I just think he needs to do a little more.
And
defensively, he's great.
100%. I fight with people about this all the time. Other than his scoring, and that's it. Literally, you cannot find another flaw. And he's a top 5 elite player in every statistical category except for scoring.
It's free throws,
okay,
turnovers.
So he doesn't get to the line enough. I'll give him that. But a guy like Harden who creates fouls, like you'd want him to get to the line more and produce there. But
right,
his 15 points a game, if he bumped it up 6, put him at 20 points per game, 21 points per game.
It's not just the scoring, it's when they score.
Okay.
So, and in the fourth quarter, sometimes he goes silent. And I'm a Ben Simmons fan. I'm not trying to bash him. You know what I mean? I've always been a fan. I always said, keep these guys together. Don't break them up. When people said so, I am a fan of his, but there's things he needs to do. And come playoff time, when sometimes it becomes a half-court game, there's things he needs to do better.
But the thing is, too, with Ben Simmons and everybody else, the other point guards in the league, like Harden's just a jack.
Not a point guard.
Well, I know he's a shooting guard, but still, if we're going to compare them two, one's a jack, one's not. And one plays defense, the other one doesn't. There's a lot of point guards who do not play good defense like Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is probably the most elite defender point guard that we have ever seen, other than Magic Johnson. I think
he's an elite passer. He's an elite rebounder. He's an elite defender. Like all of these things can't be denied. You can look at the numbers. You can watch him play. He is all of those things. He just doesn't score.
Right.
Basically, what we're asking for is we want him to change the entire way that he plays the game to be somebody else's player. We want him to be Luka Doncic. We want him to be Trey Young. We want him to be.
Sometimes it looks like he doesn't have the desire, and that's what bothers
me.
But
I disagree with that. He plays defense every game, the 100% on the best player on the other team. To say that he doesn't have desire, he's out there giving you everything he's got on the defensive end.
But I need the two-way to be an elite
but he is.
player.
He passes. He's a 7 assist a game. He gets 8 rebounds a game. Like
on
he does
a
those
top-notch team like that. I need more. Like that's not so great.
But basically, what you're saying is Ben is never going to. He's never going to meet your expectations.
But the most frustrating thing was the other night against New Orleans when they started to come back in that game. I saw him. He was down low, and he could have taken the shot right there, and he passes it, and then they didn't end up scoring anyway.
The way they play their offense and everything that's predicated is he's supposed to penetrate, let the defense collapse, and then he kicks. That's why they added shooters around him. So he has that mentality of when I get the ball and I'm down low, he doesn't think shot first, and that's a problem. I will admit that.
Steve, let me ask you this, right?
Yeah.
So going into the season, I think that there was a lot more questions about Ben Simmons than there are now, to be honest with you. And I was one of them, quite frankly. But I feel like Rivers has him playing a different type of game. Like I feel like he's stepped up this year. I know that the scoring isn't exactly where people want it, but I like the fact that he's shooting more. Is this a case where maybe people just see that there's untapped potential there, and he's got to tap into that a little more?
Yeah, I agree with that. So, there is untapped potential. I think he has the ability to do it. That's what's so frustrating because he is talented. And even the game, like there was just a play where he took like a little 15-foot and switched it. His form looked real good now. I'm like, take those shots. Don't always do the flip. Take a nice shot once in a while. Your game would be elevated so much higher. He has no idea. Like I just can't fathom why he doesn't do it.
So basically, what you're saying is so he's never going to meet your expectations. At the end of the day, they need to trade Ben Simmons in the offseason because our fan base regarding Ben Simmons has become toxic.
No, he has the ability.
Has the ability, but he's never going to. Basically, what everybody is screaming for is I want a Russell Westbrook. I want
No, I
Steph
don't
Curry
want him.
scoring first kind of point guard because that's all they can. That's all
you're
anybody
going
complains
to
about.
but it's going to extremes. We're not asking him to be Seth Curry.
So what does he need to be?
He needs to be somebody who takes the shots.
How many points per game?
15 to 20, I
it's
say.
not
He's
just-
at 15
all you're
now.
going
Yeah,
is
that's not
this.
enough.
I would say 20 to 25
All
points a
you're
game.
going
So
is
20
with
to
his
25 would
numbers.
put him in the top 5 point guard scoring.
My thing is, I just
I
think
think
he
it would.
needs. He
No, it
needs.
definitely
yeah.
would, but that's not his game.
I know.
So you're
I know,
saying
it's not-
you want him to score 10 more points a game than what he's giving you right now.
I would love
Does that
him to.
equate to more wins?
So let me
I
Because
think
it
it
doesn't. It doesn't.
Paul
They're the
Spencer.
same.
Go ahead,
Oh,
go
I'm sorry.
ahead.
Paul Spencer's checking in here, and I think that this might help bring a little clarity to like what everyone's trying to say and trying not to say here. So you need a scoring against the Nets. Simmons needs to do more on a nightly basis. He's no threat outside the paint. Playoffs, you can double Embiid in the paint. I want to say that second half of the comment, like, you know, he's got to be a little more of a threat. I always said I wanted him to be 15-20. He needs to show he's going to shoot, so these people aren't backing up into the lane and taking that away from him, taking Embiid away from him, right?
So he is 15 to 20 now.
Well, that's fine then. Then
That's where
I
his
like
scoring
that.
is right
That's-
now.
I think he's shooting more this year, and I like that. And then
And he's
people are
right
gonna say
on
that.
par with shots per game.
Yeah.
With, the next 10 guys in front of him. They're all
Me,
shooting.
me
the same.
personally, that's
He's
what
not
I-
a volume shooter, so you're not going to get that out of him.
when he wasn't shooting at all last year, or I mean, a lot less than this year. That's what I was saying. I don't want him to be a 50-point guy, even though I think he could be 40-point guy. I just think that he needs to show it more so these teams aren't telegraphing what he's doing,
To keep him
or
on,
he's not
right.
telegraphing what he's doing.
And it's the flow of the game in this situation. It's not just numbers, too. I don't want to just look at him. Well, he did these shooting this. What's this person? How many shots taking him? It's the flow of the game and the time of the game when he needs to do things, or when one guy is hurt, one guy's having a bad game. That's when I want to see him take the initiative more. And there are things like that I think sometimes he doesn't. But I mean, like, there's a lot of good things he does, and I don't want to sound like I'm totally bashing him. Of course, I do like a lot of things of his game.
Your name's not Chuck Bernard. You know what I mean?
Where is
Hey,
he?
He's hiding.
So
He's hiding.
Jim
I'm
Marks
waiting to
is,
hear his startup music as he comes down the aisle, comes running in. Ben!
That's my brother for you.
Yeah.
so you have a couple comments here. I know Jim Marks is checking in from Santa Boot First podcast. Not to turn this into
This makes me
TMZ.
nervous. I saw his comment.
Not to turn the TMZ, right? But does Ben get a pass for his play this week because of the family drama? Jim's saying he's not given one. What do you make of that?
So here's so did you guys all hear the situation?
What's the family
No, I didn't
drama?
hear.
So Ben Simmons has siblings. If you guys have seen his Showtime, whatever that he did. So he's got a sister, Olivia, and he's got a half brother, Sean. He's got a half brother, Liam.
What he works out with, doesn't he?
So his half brother, Sean, is his shooting coach, I believe, and
Okay.
he's his manager as well. The sister went on Twitter this week and said that since the time she was 3, she was molested by her brother, her half brother, but didn't name anybody. So
Oh God.
they based all of the everybody's
Could have been
speculating
Ben.
on what it is, that it's the brother Sean. So Ben's obviously close with both. He's really close with his sister. He's really close with his brother. So this coming out, and she put it out in a very public forum, said, I'm not going to hide from this anymore, but it hasn't been addressed. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's asking. And I think a lot of that has to do with you trying to give the family privacy as they work through that, because it technically doesn't involve Ben other than it's his peripheral. It's his family members. But I mean, I'm sure that does weigh on him, but I mean, I honestly don't know how to answer that. It would affect me if I had to go to work and do that every day and had to deal with that with my sister who's making these accusations, whether they're founded or not. I mean, that's not for me to determine. I know that she's got some mental health issues that she's been dealing with for a long time. And, you hope that as a family, they get through it and figure out what's going on. But I mean, I'm sure that it does affect him if that's what the question is. He doesn't get a pass. I mean, but I'm sure it affects him.
Will George Hill ever actually play in a Sixers uniform?
Yes.
No.
It was a terrible trade. I mean, we didn't give up much for it. What he's going to give you is just a second unit guy. It'll give Ben some minutes to rest. It'll move Shake over to a more natural 2 guard instead of having him be your point on the second unit. But I mean, I don't expect much out of him.
My man Adam Popples checked in too. He said my biggest concern with Ben Simmons is he's been turning the ball over lately.
So I saw this a lot on the message boards and people complaining about Ben's turnovers because we're just going to move on from one thing to another.
Yeah.
So I heard somebody go, he's at 31 turnovers over his last 10 games. It's 3 turnovers a game. He's a point guard. That's not crazy. That's not crazy.
Well, listen, big game. They're going ahead and against Dallas. Give me your thoughts. What's the X's on against Luka? I'll start with you, John. What's your takeaway? I think they should be able to head into Dallas and handle business lightly, just like they did the other night.
Yeah, I don't see any.
It's been, the Dallas Mavericks have become like the NBA Sixers West. I mean, you got JJ, your boy JJ out there. You got Boban. You got.
I think with that game, you're going to see Embiid down low a lot of that game and completely dominating that game. And I think the Sixers can go in there and win that game with no problem.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they should be able to handle business. I mean, like again, time in, time out, Embiid is going to do what Embiid does. Yeah. He's going to be in the paint, causing havoc and all that good stuff. But
I can see Embiid going to the line a lot in that game too.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think Ben, what's made Ben look so great. I think the chemistry now, like was it last year? It looked like Ben and Joel couldn't play together, but now you see those two on the court together. Embiid's bringing the best out of Ben.
Yep.
That's what I'm seeing. The best. You're getting the best version of Ben right now.
Yep.
The next 2 weeks are going to be a gauntlet for the Sixers. I'm just looking at the upcoming games in the schedule. They play the Mavericks, which is going to Mavericks are a good team. And it could force them to be an overlooked game because it's going to be like a trap.
I can see this game like almost like a mini playoff type game.
Well, it's going to have that trap game feel to it because they're going to look at the Nets. The Nets game on Wednesday is going to be huge.
Yeah.
But then they follow that up. They play the Clippers, the Warriors, the Suns, and then the Bucks twice over the next.
Yeah, that's a tough schedule.
Tough run, dude.
Yeah, that's
Phoenix's second best.
We're
gonna
see what this team is made of.
This is what you want, though.
Yeah, that you want.
You're looking at the Warriors as a reprieve
honestly,
break, and
I want the Nets
60.
I want the Nets at full force. I want to see how good we are with the Nets with everybody.
I think Harden's not going to be playing.
No, I know. I'm just saying I want to see the Nets with everybody.
And Kyrie's due for a mental health day. He's going to check out and say, I just don't like playing basketball for the next week. So
not only has Phoenix had the second best record, but the Sixers have such a hard time with those type of point guards.
The small ones.
That they kill them, like the Trae Youngs, the Buckers they always go off.
Lucas,
that's a daily fantasy play right there.
Is it?
Dead serious. If you're playing whoever the Sixers are, take their point guard. Take the point guard from the opposing team. They're probably going to have some points because they don't put Ben on the point guard. Ben winds up playing the small forward or a scorer. So like Ben will be on Devin Booker in that game against Phoenix. So Chris Paul will have 25 points.
Man, that's gonna be sick. Chris, what's your take on the upcoming game against Dallas Mavericks?
I think the Sixers are probably going to come out with a W by 10 points, probably.
Yeah,
by 10.
I think so. But how are they going to get it done? I mean, is it going to be Embiid doing the dirty work as usual? How are they going to get it done?
I think it's going to be a surprise. I think Tobias Harris is going to go off that game. Tobias and
is he going to play? I mean, did they say he's going to play because he was out?
Pretty sure he was playing. I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, no, he was off yesterday. So, but look, I mean, the Sixers team moving forward, I feel great about. Like Steve was just saying that the tale of the take is going to be this week coming up against Brooklyn, against that Suns team, and against Spurs.
Golden State.
So, I mean, you're right.
So he sat yesterday for right knee soreness. So it's not like a rest game. He's just having.
And the one good thing though is this brutal schedule with all these road games, all this stuff. It's going to mean the finishes we're going to be top heavy with home games.
Yeah.
So that's going to really help.
That will help.
We play at home,
and the Sixers are great at home.
Right.
Yeah,
so that's going to really
they're
help.
actually not bad on the road either right now.
No, I'm just saying the Sixers
historically they're terrible.
Right.
Yeah,
they definitely played
this year they're
so
playing well on the road.
But still the disparity is so huge. If we can get at the end of the season like 10 to 12 at home or something, that would be unreal.
Well, listen, I got to get to another subject here. We can all agree on
for basketball. I have a question. Did you guys see the injury report for Oklahoma? How they listed Al Horford?
No.
Al Horford was out, and I swear to God, the reason was it just says old.
No,
I swear that's how they listed him on the. It says
God.
old. It says old as a reason. Like it'll say like so and so is out for illness, so and so is out for sore knee. It just says old. Just says old.
I'll tell you what, he is the villain for a reason. One more before we check out here. 5 games together. My money's on the Nets to win it all. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Paul.
Shocker.
Thanks. Yeah, right. But anyways,
Hey, he's a betting man.
he is a betting man.
So
But look, we got a Phillies baseball team to watch tonight, prime time against Atlanta in Atlanta. Past 2 games hasn't looked great. Mark, what have you seen from this team? I mean, they came out hot this past week, and then they start to he got hit with the reality calls. I mean, the Braves team from the first to cleanup is a pretty nasty, squad. So but Mark, walk me through it.
Well, I was so excited. Like I just had a good feeling about this team and the way they started. I think they jumped out and then won 5 or 6 against 2 of their big rivals in the East, and they were getting timely hitting. And I really loved Reese's approach. His bats are like tremendous. He looks like he's locked in. And then these past 2 games really put a bad taste in my mouth. Now, what happened is you got to, like you said, that top of that Braves lineup is scary. And they're starting to feel it a little. Freeman's getting hot, which you knew he was going to eventually. Kuna looks tough. I mean, like, they are tough, but what really hurts is when you jump out 2-0 and they call that shutdown inning the very next inning when the pitcher comes in. If you could shut them down, it gives you that momentum. But immediately they came back with a 3 spot, so we were right on our heels. And you just knew like that was a bad sign. They started off with that bad
And how about Zach Wheeler getting rocked a little bit? I mean, he calls 4 walks the other night.
I haven't seen. He really didn't have his stuff, and it really was
He's
upsetting.
another guy they just need to move on from.
Really?
No way.
Oh, Velasquez? I'm sorry.
No. Zach Wheeler.
Walk away from Zach Wheeler too. I thought you were talking about Velo.
So this is a huge game. You don't want to get swept because it's the difference between losing 3 games as opposed to just 1 in the standings. So if you could get this game tonight, then like I said, you're only dropping a game in the 3 games as opposed to losing a 3-game thing. So this is a huge game tonight.
Yeah, but here goes the thing, though. You're not going to have your 2 top pitchers. As a matter of fact, Eflin was somewhat different.
Eflin did not look good to start that game, but he finished strong.
Yeah, he did finish strong.
Like, that was the encouraging part of it. Like, even after having that, but he put the first 4 guys. It was a double, and then the home run, and then an out, and then
But we're going against one of their lower starters too, right?
Yes.
So that's what it's going to come down to. We need the bats to pay. Harper's got to start getting a hold of the ball now. Like this is the longest he's gone without a homer, I think, since his rookie season. So
finally hit one last night.
He did.
Right.
He did bank one last night.
I literally was sitting there, and I said right before he hit it, I went, "How long do you think he's gone in his career?" I was watching the game with TY, and both of us were looking at him like, "How long do you think it's gone?" And it's a little weird. Like, I saw Freddie Freeman hit his home run, and like he's at 3 for the season, which isn't a lot, but I'm looking at it and I'm going, has anybody on our team hit more than 1? And nobody's hit more than 1.
That's why they got to get the bats got to come to life. That's what we need.
And it's funny you bring that up, Steve, because right away when Freeman hit that, I think it was like on Instagram or something. Someone already posted like MVP already. I said, stop it already.
It's so hard to talk. Like, I love talking baseball, but it's hard right now to I have no idea what this team is. Like, they show flashes where I look at it and I go, their pitching can hold. We need to add another pitcher at some point during the season. We need another starter. You can never have too many pitchers.
Right.
Maybe add another piece in the bullpen. But the thing that concerns me most about them is it's their bench. They have no depth whatsoever.
No.
And they keep trying this experiment with Roman Quinn where he'll play every few days, or they're trying to
enough of Roman Quinn.
So over.
I can't stand it.
They got a big hole in center field.
Huge. But like at this point, I look at it and I go, Hazley looks like he is what he is. Like, you're not going to get a ton out of him. I like the kid, but I mean,
when's Devereaux coming back up? I'd rather have him there than Roman Quinn.
So I agree with you because Devereaux can he's got a little bit of pop.
So why isn't it? Do you think they're just sending him a message? Because of what you did, we're keeping you in the minors.
I mean, I hope not.
I thought they might.
If that's the case, you shouldn't bring him back at all.
On the road trip, they might try to slip him in, but.
At this point, I'd rather see Moniak.
I think that's the plan.
I'd rather see what we have with him, and if he's not, let's just move on.
Yeah.
I think that's the plan to bring him back up. If he would have made the team, I mean, I think the fans and the media probably would have bashed him.
I don't think so.
I do. 100%.
No, this isn't the era of Brett Myers. This is a different era.
I watched the fan base be very forgiving to Brett Myers after he publicly punched his.
No, I think they were harder
Nah,
on Brett Myers. I don't think this fan base today.
How many games did Brett Myers sit out? One?
I don't remember.
It was like one.
Yeah, but
Dubo lost
but
an
I'm talking
entire
about
season of
I'm
baseball.
talking about the fan base from back then to now. I think they would be more forgiving with a Dubo.
Again, he missed an entire season.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think he would have got. I don't think it would be.
I think that what they're waiting for is someone to get injured so they can say, "Oh, well, we bought him up because he was injured,"
Yeah,
instead of
right.
just bringing him up.
True.
that's a shitty
You know
way
what
to
I
run
mean?
your. No offense,
I'm not
Lakers,
saying
but
it's right. I'm just saying
that's a terrible way
what
to
they're-
run your organization where you're hoping somebody gets injured. So you
I-
can
I- like I said, I don't
justify it.
think
Like,
that they're.
that's terrible.
That's
I think
horrible.
they're looking for justification, is
Yeah,
what I mean.
I
I'm
agree,
not
Bob.
saying that they're. Oh, I
That's
hope
what they're
Roman
doing.
Quinn breaks his leg.
I
I'm
do.
saying.
it's different. And
I'm
yeah,
just saying they're waiting to be able to justify bringing him up for whatever reason.
they're
Well-
cracking down more. But when Brett Myers did what he did, it was bad and everything. But now things are like, because all the other shit that happened after that, like the public outcry when you do stuff like this is far worse today than it was back then. So
Well, yeah, because we
It's
have
harder to-
social media. You
it's-
can
there's
you
so
can
much
fire that
stuff.
out there, and
everybody's like
it's a mob
crying about
mentality.
it. So like they're still waiting for a right situation through either like a really bad slump or like an injury or something where they can kind of slip him in. If he starts hitting, you know, the fan base will accept him.
Well, one out of Popple's checking in. He says, "I want Modiak to play every day."
We're on the same boat. I
Yeah,
want him to play
yeah.
just because I want to be done with that. Like, he was a number 1 overall pick. It's time. Bring him up. If he turns out to not be anything, and we move on from it. I want to stop hearing this dude's name fired around there. Like, someday he can, someday he. Just do it at this point.
Well, let's pick the mind of one of the master debater in the room, Chris. What are you seeing from this Phillies team? What's going through that mind?
I think the Phillies are a lot better than everyone thinks they are. Like, I think their
Yeah,
whole
but I mean-
lineup is terrific. I just think their bats will come to life soon, maybe not just yet. And that Velasquez, he needs to be a closer. He's not a starting pitcher.
Yeah, but I mean, we only got one good inning from him, and that was it. And then
That's what I'm saying. If you only have one good inning for Velasquez, he has to be a closer. He's not a starting pitcher. He has juice for like 1 or 2 innings, and that's it. And then he just throws out homers all day.
We've been saying this for a couple of years now.
Yeah, he's a closer. He's not a starting pitcher. He's a closer.
I don't. No, he's not a closer. I don't know. I'm ready to send him to AAA. Like, I'm not too happy with his stuff. I mean, he went out. Like, I thought. Like, I try to have a lot of faith in Double V because I thought he was going to have like a monstrous year after putting up 16 Ks in like one game, and then he
shows flashes and then he disappears.
right, and he just turns out what he is. It's just
He's
Like
not-
you always think, like, oh, this is finally it. He's gonna break out, and then just doesn't.
He's
No.
bad with guys on base, and that's bad.
yeah,
He
that's
seems to
terrible.
really struggle from the stretch and with guys on base. When he needs to make that big pitch, he doesn't seem to be able to do it.
So I was a little premature on it earlier. They need to walk away from that guy.
That's just being nice.
Yeah, they need to just honestly. What's been 4 years we've been going through
I
this?
think
Yeah,
he
it's the
tried-
same
I
thing
hate
every
it.
year.
They've tried to fit him in every
Yeah.
possible thing.
I hate it when the
Long
fans
relief, starter, closer. It
picked
don't
that
work.
up 4 years earlier. Everybody was like, "Listen, this guy
Yeah.
is not a starter.
I
He
should try
doesn't
him in
have the
outfield.
stamina or the
No.
mental makeup to get past."
Try him
But
in
why are
center
the
field.
Phillies constantly bringing people back that are like, dude, what do you do? Like, there's a lot of them on this team right
Cheap.
now.
He's cost effective.
Truthfully, he's costly effective because the guy costs you games. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with something Steve said earlier that I just wanted to, I think it applies to this Phillies team. It is, every game's going to go by and they're not going to go 160 and 0. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
the one thing that I would love to see from this team is a consistent, solid effort on the baseball field. And when I say that, I mean like pitching, hitting, fielding. It's all there. And even if they lose, I want to see them play well, so I could say, "Hey, look, they lost, but they put out a solid effort." And it's been a while since you've had all those intangibles come together and form a solid game,
They do.
solid streak of games.
Chris, you're dead on. They do have a really good lineup.
I think this is
I do.
a 90 plus win team. Though.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think that they're not being looked that way because it's a gauntlet through our division.
Yeah.
Any team in our division can win the division. Everybody's good.
Not the Mutts.
I think they're
even the
exciting.
Mutts. Every single team. I mean, dude, imagine if you're DeGrom. Like, the guy can't get any run support at all. He's 0-2, and he's given up 1 run, I think it is. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, look at him at that opening game against us. I mean, he was carving us. I mean, he was killing us. And then, as soon as he sat down, that's when our bats came alive. So, but my point is with the Phillies, though. I mean, like Steve brought to the, once you get through 1 through 5 hitting, it's just again, you get to Hazley, Roman Quinn. And if you decide to sit Remuto, you get to Andrew Knapp and those guys. I mean,
We don't have any
Just
depth.
mediocre. It's mediocre.
We don't have any depth. I'd like to see them make a move and lock up center field because that's the one question mark on the team. If you look at every single position, I think everybody here at the table would agree. I'm comfortable with 1 through 8. He's the guy. The center field thing is what concerns me the most. And if we can get somebody who's consistent in center field, I'm happy.
Got to be solid up the middle, and they're not.
And once you figure that out, like they're going to be a much better in a much better situation. And then the pitching. I mean, I think we're good 1-2. I'm not an Eflin guy. Every year they say this is going to be the year. He's going to be the guy. I haven't seen it from him. There's nothing he hasn't elevated his game. He's been literally the same player.
I could see at the trading deadline definitely to get a start.
We have to. And I love that their bullpen is playing. Their bullpen went how many innings without giving up a run last week? They're competing in every game, and I think they went 4 games without giving a run. Their bullpen.
That's so far been the biggest difference this year.
Yeah, like last year, I think it was Jamie Lynch from 97.5 said that whenever the Phillies would go to their bullpen, he would live in bet against the Phillies.
Yeah,
and he's like, and we made tons of money doing it because.
Well, think about it. They blew how many 25 games last year?
I think they were second in the majors in leads.
Yeah,
like they had the lead.
Yeah, then as soon as the bullpen came in.
Yeah, I mean that's a big stat.
But you look at that from a whole team standpoint, and you say if you can figure out a way to not blow all those games, they won over 100 games last year. Like, it's crazy, like to look at it in that perspective. But
so, can I ask you this? What if you get into the latter part of the season? And this team is right there. I mean, I guess as we see it now, not trying to overreact because I do think they're playing solid ball, which is what I counted on before the season. Are they a piece or two from a legitimate contending team?
It depends on who the piece or two is.
I'm talking about a starting pitcher. If you add a legitimate starting pitcher, even if that's all you add, and you're not strong up the middle still, but if you add a legitimate starting pitcher, are they a contender?
So you're looking.
You have to do both.
So you're looking at.
Okay.
It's the only way you win in our division. You have to do both. You need to upgrade your center field.
Okay.
You need to add another starting pitcher.
So you're looking at. You're right. You're looking at the Dogs' days of summer. By then you should be able who's a contender, who's a seller, and you got to see who's selling and what's going to benefit this team right now. Well, would benefit the team at the time. So I mean. I think that, us, the Mutts, and the Braves will be in that race right there. I don't think the Marlins, I predicted that wrong. I thought the Marlins would be a more of a contender team. However, like John was saying coming on the air, somehow they got our number every year. But anyways, I just got to see who will be, who will be selling at the time. And so, maybe we will get better then. Like I already predict this team would be a wild card team. That was my bet.
Adam Popple's checking in. He's saying, they might need a closer. Is that a priority right now? I mean, not maybe like later part of the season. I don't trust Hector Neris either.
I think
he's like a Roman Quinn.
I think like what Steve said, you're probably more. You need an at bat.
Yeah.
More. You're probably an at bat by then.
Yeah, you need bats. As far as closer goes, I mean, there's tons of teams that win without a stud ace closer. Like Neris isn't the greatest closer out there, but I think he's one of those guys with reps and with confidence behind him. Like that confidence is the biggest thing with a closer. If you're an egomaniac, arrogant dude, you can close games. Billy Wagner was an asshole, to be honest with you. But he would go out there and he would blow by, 102. That was his
same
thing.
with Papelbon.
Yeah. Like these guys closers are a different breed. Like it's more confidence and arrogance. That's all you need. The more wins that they get, the more saves that this dude racks up. It's just reps. He's gonna look stronger and stronger. I'm okay with Neris there. He's not my first choice, but I'm okay with him being.
And you got to give him a chance. We're gonna say, like, if he starts blowing,
Yeah,
saves,
then you got to make a change.
Then
If
you
he
gotta-
starts blowing,
right.
because we upgraded this position in the offseason.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean,
And there are other guys on the team that
Yeah.
can close, but it's like I said, but we got to see if it's a problem. It's not one just yet.
If you had to move one guy from the team to upgrade another spot, who would you move?
Kingery.
All right. So minor leaguer. I'm saying from the big club.
What's the question now again?
If you had to pick one, obviously center field's a position, but like if you had to move on from like Hoskins, you had to trade Didi, you had to trade.
I would say maybe
you had to pick one guy.
Hoskins.
Yeah.
If you could maybe get something for him, because he's still young.
Mhm.
I think he could be a good trade bait.
So Hoskins would have been my pick too. And the reason I even asked it was we were talking last night. Bohm's going to be an awesome third baseman for a while. He's eventually going to be our first baseman because we're going to move on from Hoskins.
Yeah.
Like I just
It's a
can't
shame,
imagine
'cause
a power hitting first baseman batting 2 is a little weird to me.
Yeah.
And I get he gets on base, he hits doubles or whatever, but
He was
really-
another guy that looked like he was going to be
Yeah,
great, and
yeah.
he just, I don't know.
He's one of those guys where I love him and I want to see him be dominant, but I just don't see it. Like I don't think long term he's that guy. And I feel like you can find power hitting first baseman anywhere. Like that's the spot.
I actually agree with Adam Popple. He says move on from Hoskins and put Alec Bowman.
Exactly what I just said.
Yep. I mean that's a great pick. So I mean, look, now that kid's got a stud future. That kid's got really. He might be my, other than Embiid, he might be my second favorite Philly athlete right now.
I'm afraid to get his jersey.
Because
I'm the jinx, dude. I'm the mush when it comes. Every jersey I buy, with the exception of my Harper now.
When it comes to jerseys,
I have a closet full of guys
Talk
who
to
are
Joe
traded or retired.
Sullivan.
yeah. When it comes to jerseys, I go jerseys for the players now, and I go legends for the jerseys. I mean, that's why they're
It's a
cemented.
good move.
It's a smart move.
Steve, I know you don't have any hockey jerseys, but in case you feel like you should get
First of
one,
all-
stay away from Carter Hart. Do not buy
First of
Carter
all,
Hart.
I don't know who Carter Hart is. Secondly,
exactly.
they're called hockey sweaters. They're
Wait,
not jerseys.
I'm surprised you can pronounce that word, hockey.
It's hokey. Is what it is. Hokey.
Well, speaking of some hockey,
We don't
All right, I'm
have
out.
any.
they won yesterday. So look, they're hanging off a cliff with 3 fingers on there. I mean, so I got to go to the hockey guy in the room, Chris. What did you see yesterday with the Flyers team? All right.
So, looking at the stats, looking at everything that's going on and how the Flyers play, Hart has to be benched. He cannot be the starting goalie. Elliott has been killing it lately when he's been playing. He's been not like playoff material killing it, but like he's keeping them alive in this little playoff hunt that they have right now.
Yeah, but now they're sellers now. They're sellers. They're pretty much. I mean, so who's leaving the ship? I mean, you're fighting to get in the door though of the playoffs. I mean,
That's the
did they
thing.
have enough push?
I don't even think they're going to make the playoffs.
No.
I really don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
Oh wow, Bob. Why is that, Bob?
I said from the beginning of the season when there was other people picking this team to go to the Stanley Cup, it was just
That was
kind of
silly.
ridiculous. Yeah, there were a couple people.
Speaking about mushes.
Yeah, there was one other person from this show who's not here who, I put money on them to go to the Stanley Cup. But this team, last year was great. At the end of the year, they came on strong. I mean, there's just too much holes right now. The defense all around, their defensive forwards who are supposed to be, back checkers or forecheckers, they're just not there. I don't see it. And if you don't have defense in this league that can clear the front of the crease, that can do those things, it makes it tough for the goaltender. I guess I'm not going to give Carter Hart a complete, pass here because I think he has let up some soft goals, but the team in front of him hasn't been good at all. And that was for the majority of the season. So the offense goes blank once in a while. They're on their 5th coach with this core of players. There's just you got to stop firing coaches.
How many games? They're doing an abbreviated season, right? They're not going a full 82.
Right, 56 games. Yep.
So there's 16 games left.
Yep.
Yeah, Yeah.
So how do you expect to make the playoffs?
They're not.
They're not.
How do you expect to make the playoffs or make any noise when Joel Farabee is your leading goal scorer?
Absolutely. Yeah, I
That's
agree with that.
embarrassing, dude.
That
You've got
isn't.
guys on the team that are making, tons of money,
Mhm.
and Joel Farabee's your
Yeah.
leading scorer.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that. But wait a minute.
Joel
that's-
Farabee is your leading scorer.
Yeah,
I'm not a hockey guy, but I know that's a problem.
yeah, it is a huge problem.
No, it's-
And here's the thing, though, that's exciting too, because you have Joel Farabee. He's a young guy, but I agree with Steve. I mean, this is kind of unique here. We're agreeing,
right.
but I think he
And on hockey, no less.
right. So it is, and I think that is a problem. But that's just one of the many glaring issues with this team. They get pushed off the puck too easily. They don't go into the corners and muck and grind the way that these other teams do. It's just not there. I don't see it.
No, you're right. I mean, again, Bob, you and I have discussed this time in, time out. How many coaches have they been through? How many goaltenders with these primary players? Like Steve said, they locked them. I think who was it? Paul Holmgren, who locked these guys in these no contract, no trade clause contracts. So those guys cannot. They're making all the money in the world and would not have to worry about anything. So your message from AV to me is you got to bench those two guys. One of the two have to sit. Voracek or Drew have to sit that bench. Kevin Hayes has been an absolute mess. Sit him. Something's got to give. Someone's got to say, that's how, I mean, you've seen it. I've seen it. Mark's seen it. John's seen it. AV screams and hollers and all that other stuff. And the message is just going in one ear out through the other. Nothing's clicking. So in that case, you're fighting, like I said, you're hanging off a cliff with 3 fingers left.
Right.
Something's got to give. You're going to face the Buffalo Sabres today, a team that's got your number as of late. You can't afford to make mistakes now. Now we're at the point of we're playing leapfrog. We're praying at night that some team would lose so we can get in the door. I'm tired of playing that hockey. I'm tired.
Well, you know who else is going to get tired of that? Claude Giroux. I mean, this guy's been here, and look, I'm hammering Giroux because it's part of that on-ice leadership that we talk about. When you have a core of people, especially young guys, who constantly tune out the coach, or like even that main core of the older guys, I think the GM has to look at that and really look at the history of this core. Because telling me that, the message from the coach isn't getting there, they're not buying in, they're not doing it, it's old to me. And the reason why I hate saying this, because look, I like Claude Giroux as a player. He's almost a point per game player in his career. He's a point per game player in the playoffs.
But he only gives you one period of hockey.
It is. Yeah.
You play for 60 minutes, he only gives you 20.
So wait,
Right.
Bob.
Claude
Yeah.
Giroux is the Flyers' Ben Simmons.
If
He
the
literally
players
is.
have, if
Yes,
the players have
yes.
tuned
Yeah.
out this coach, doesn't that mean that it's possibility time for a coaching change?
No,
Yeah, but-
no.
but we-
No.
You can't
No.
keep doing that. The players are
Yeah,
obviously
but
at some point
what's
gonna
going to
be wrong.
happen next year? We're probably going to see the same garbage next year.
Then
but
you're
we
going to
start
get
moving
coaches that don't want to coach here.
See, the
This
thing
team-
is,
this team needs an overhaul. They need to break
Yes.
this down and
They need an
start
overhaul
this-
at the top.
a
They need
total
to-
overhaul.
Yeah.
When did they go through their trade deadline yet?
This week.
This week.
This week's the trade deadline.
In all honesty, I would just say write the season off. If you're fighting for a playoff
Yes.
spot with 16 games to go,
They're not going to win anything,
listen,
even if they
I
get
would,
there.
I would move Giroux. I would move Voracek. I would move Henry.
Rebuild the whole thing.
But I would try to
They need
free
to
up as
break it
much
down and
possible
start
money as you
over.
could and just say, listen,
But-
I'll take back draft picks. I'll take back prospects. I'll take back garbage fees. I need to get rid of these guys.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Yes.
the problem with Steve is these guys.
Damn, I
come
like
back-
Steve.
Yes.
Why don't you talk hockey more, man?
Listen, I know sports. I can
Just
listen.
out to.
I can change the names to any other sports team names, and it's the same story.
Right.
see, the thing is
Just
though,
remember,
this
the names have been changed to protect the NFL.
Yes.
this year is the expansion. Voracek is probably gonna be gone, and he's a leadership kind of guy too. People look up to him.
Do they though? Because they don't play for him.
No, they don't. I think it's a ripple effect. Like they're not listening to the coach because it comes from leadership, and leadership is Giroux. If Giroux's not listening to the coach, those players ain't listening either. So if anything, I think it falls on Giroux.
Listen, move Giroux to a team
Yeah.
that's on the verge of
But the-
winning a cup.
But the,
You could probably get some
He
draft
wants to.
picks.
He has to want to go. If
Yeah.
he doesn't want to go and keep getting that paycheck, He ain't moving.
That's
He
the
has to
problem.
want to go.
That's the
He's going to
problem.
want to at some point.
Yeah, but that's the problem, though. He's got the no trade clause. This ain't the NBA where guys, decide they want to go play for.
Why
These
would
guys just want to?
Why would he not want to leave though to go to a team that has a chance to win a cup?
But
I'm
that's the
trying-
teams that don't want him, though. The teams that are
Trade
going
him
for
to
a
the
playoff spot.
Saskatoon Spitfires. I don't give a shit. Get him out of here.
The Massachusetts Spitfires. I like.
Get him out of here, dude.
Yeah, you got it. This team is just it's not there. I
If
agree
you
with
put
Steve.
him on the block and say, "I'll give him away for a bag of pucks." Like
Right.
somebody's going to come with an offer, and you just tell him, "Hey, listen, you have no future here. We're going to start sitting you. You're not going to play. You're not going to get any minutes. Your legacy is going to be the guy who got benched and never played again."
the ownership, though, who's the Comcast owner? So he care less what goes on the hockey team.
That's another thing that's a big miss from this organization
Ed
is
Snyder.
someone like Ed Snyder.
Yeah, they need
Yeah,
to
but-
take his DNA
but
and
like-
reincarnate
They
him.
definitely need Ed back.
But like Steve said before going on air, that they're still playing his type of hockey where they're
Yeah.
still stuck in 70 mode.
No,
I
they're
wanna-
not.
I want to fist fight you.
No,
When
disagree with that.
When
Nah,
the
They don't play a bully style of hockey.
They
but They
don't.
play a flyer brand of hockey that is
How?
pissed.
They don't even forecheck anymore. They don't check. They get
It's not-
pushed
There's-
off.
they
the-
have
It's not
no
a bully.
physics.
It's not a
They
bully
have no
style.
physicality
It's not the
on this
bully
team.
style.
I'm not saying that. I didn't say that at all. I said they play a flyer style of hockey. Like nobody else in the league plays the way that they do.
So
I
how do
agree.
they play? How
Behind
are
the
they
net.
playing?
Behind the net. Crap. Just
Yes.
keep passing behind the net.
Correct.
I've seen
Dump
12
and
different
chase.
games.
Oh yeah, the
Last-
dump and chase. Yeah.
Yeah, the past 12 games I've seen, everyone played differently from the Flyers, and it works. Like, no one plays behind the net anymore. It's just too old school playing behind the net. It's too old.
So it's
It's
the
more
dump and
shoot,
chase.
shoot, shoot.
If you watch them,
Gretzky's office back there.
Yeah.
if you watch them, these defenses when they carry the puck from their own end into another team's end, they're cheating back. The guy on the side, the defenseman from the other team on the side where the Flyers are bringing the puck up, he's going to cheat back because he knows exactly what they're going to do, and that's dump and chase.
Yeah,
You know what else is a problem with this team? I think when they moved on from Hextall, when they got rid of Hextall, I think
That needed to happen.
No.
Yeah.
I think he should have still been in the
I don't know.
office.
There was a rumor I heard. Now I don't know how true it is, but I heard there was a rumor for Steve Stamkos for Giroux, and he turned it down.
I didn't hear that.
I heard that a
didn't
little
hear
while
that.
back.
I
I heard
didn't
that
hear
a
that.
few years
So
back.
I know
Were
that
you having
early
dreams,
on.
Pat? Were you having dreams about that, Pat?
So
Stamkos, yeah, maybe
I'll give a little validity to this. I know
Yeah, but
that
Stamkos is injury prone.
I know that early
He
on in
was one of
Stamkos' career, when Barry Melrose was the coach, he hated him and wanted to trade him. He wanted to get rid of him as quickly as possible. Thought the kid didn't have it and was never going to be a star. And that's why Barry Melrose got fired. I'm not saying that he was right,
All right.
but I could see him going to management and saying, "Hey, this kid doesn't have it. I don't need it. I'm going to trade him away." But if he was a garbage player at that point or was still on the low end and they were trying to trade him for Giroux, I could see why Hextall would say, "Yeah, no, I'm not going to trade him."
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're talking
What
like
is-
Stamkos in like his first year under Barry Melrose was awful.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
awful.
no,
But years
So if you're
ago-
trading that Steven Stamkos for Giroux,
Yes.
then Hextall should have said no. I wouldn't have taken that deal.
no. But I mean, you're talking. Look, Steve Stamkos with one less testicle, I would take over Giroux. I mean, this guy. You saw last year what he was injured for 8 months, came back and won the cup. Yo, come on, there's no comparison.
Yeah, and the thing is,
practice, man.
the thing is too.
Not a game.
The thing is about the Flyers play too is like they're so close together all the time. When they're coming down the ice, they're like holding hands coming down together. It's not the flying V's, ain't the ducks. Like spread out, and all the teams that who
Flying
play
V works though. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it actually.
in
work.
movies,
Yes. I've seen it work.
and it works in movies. So is that knuckle puck too.
Yes.
that knuckle puck works.
I've never understood the sequence of the Mighty Ducks. I know it's a movie and it's not what you guys do here, but the fact that they go from playing against the greatest teams in the world at their age group to being the JV squad in their high school, like they can't crack varsity. These dudes are winning gold medals in friggin' Sweden against the hardcore Finnish team, and they can't get past JV. Like, come on, dude, I'm not believing that.
But
It's not worth winning if you can't win big.
But
Right.
that's what I'm saying though. Like when all the other teams play, they're all spread out. They're so proportioned and spread out for the passes and clean shots. Flyers are all holding hands coming down the ice, and when they're in the zone, they're all holding hands. Like, what are you guys doing? spread out, shoot the puck.
See, the thing with this season,
always the extra pass too. It's like just
shoot the puck. Yes.
Being the fancy goal. Oh, look at that pretty goal. Who cares?
Like
So
the-
they still have snipers
like
in the
the
NHL.
Russians.
There's
They're
some
far
of
and
them.
few between.
Yeah.
I remember a day when everybody was like, "We can't get rid of Carter. He's our only sniper," and I'm like, "That doesn't do shit for this."
Yeah.
And we haven't had
constantly.
constantly. He wasn't a
And then he
sniper.
went to LA and scored 40 goals.
I think the last
Uh-huh.
true sniper we had was John LeClaire, to be quite
Yes.
honest with you.
Yeah.
John LeClaire.
I mean, TK had a nice day yesterday,
I mean,
but where
my
was
dog
he all year
after
long?
him.
Mhm.
Yeah, when me and Bob went to the game, I know for a fact me and him were both screaming, "Shoot the puck!" Like it's just and when you see it live, it's so much
I can
worse
see the
seeing
two
that
of
team
them
play.
banging on the glass. Shoot the ball.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. When you're there live, it's way worse. I don't know why
Yes,
it was so much
yes.
worse. Because when you're sitting home, you're like, "Oh, shoot the puck." When you're there live, it's even worse. I'm like, "What is happening?
Yeah,
Shoot the
I-
puck!"
You don't have the announcers explaining
Yes.
it away.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So Ryan Smitty's checking in here. I don't know. I don't think this isn't true. So he said, he said Gobbler pulling trade rumors out of his rear end, and then Ryan Smitty checks in again. Tell Pat there's a rumor of Patrick and Lawton and 2 second-round picks for Connor McDavid.
That's a good deal. You should take that trade. Take that trade.
Yes.
If that's on the table, you take that trade.
I would personally pick Connor McDavid up myself to make sure that no one's going to talk him out of it.
No. But listen, if Carter Hart continues to struggle heading into next year, are we calling? Are we
No.
really going to call him Carter Wentz?
They're going to get him right. They're going to get this right. I'm telling you.
I think this is just a bad year. He's gonna bounce back. Every star goalie had one
Mhm.
bad year and turns it around. There's always not like Carson Wentz who had terrible years.
This year's- they went terrible.
But Mark, you
Thank
think he's
you.
overrated, right? I mean, you
I do.
obviously
I thought, and it's a shame because I just thought they were already handing him like he was the next coming goal.
Pelly
And I just think-
Lindbergh.
yeah. And I just think he needed to earn more.
I have a good Pelly story.
I just
Oh,
thought
really?
they gave
I
him
do.
a little bit too much credit. The things that I watched from him, I didn't think he was as good as everybody was saying. That was my concern, and it's turned out to be true as of this point right now.
Yeah, so I think the kid needs a little more time, just like a coach. I mean, you can't like trade these goaltenders off and then trade a coach or fire a coach. There needs to be some stability in this organization, and unfortunately, I think that it's just becoming stable with a GM and a freaking coach. I don't know.
Agree. I think firing a coach every year or two is bad.
Because you're gonna fire a coach one of these times, and you're gonna find out that no one's gonna want to coach here
Mhm.
because the core doesn't buy in. They're not buying in. They're not getting the message. They're not. It's the same thing year and year.
Keep
year
firing
after
the
year, man.
manager. Eventually, you have to address the fact that it's the employees that are the problem.
Right? Exactly.
The players are the issue. It's not. You've had really good coaches in here
Yes.
that have had success and have done more with this team than expectations would show. But it's not a coaching issue. It's the players and the combination. Like the combination of Giroux and Voracek does not work.
Nope.
It hasn't worked in 5 years. It doesn't work.
Exhibit A, Berube, he leaves here, goes out to the St. Louis, wins them cup.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? It's time in and time out. I mean, AV soaked up every last lemon he could out of this team. But
Well, if they don't sell this year, we're going to see the same garbage next year. We're going to be saying the same thing, and it's a
but
broken record.
Yeah,
at this point, you're right, John. It is a broken record because again, last year you had this terrific run, whatever. You get in the postseason, you just you think Carhartt's going to bail you out every play. It has been the same snowball effect ever since. It's they think Carhart is going to bail him out. Now Carhartt's going on the struggle. So there's no defense in front of this kid. However, they're paying Ivy Proloff what they just gave him a big payday in the summer, right?
Yeah.
Or last summer, and he's giving
Last summer.
and he's going to give you what on defense? He's giving you what on defense?
Doing all right. Like you.
All right,
The whole defense sucks. So you can't have him guard every player on the ice.
all right.
You need so defense does so much. You need the offensive players to come back and help out on defense too. You cannot have 5 on 2, 3 on 1. It's not happening. What you tell me one
Back checking.
defender that's going to stop a 2 on 1 or a 3 on 1? What
Me.
defender in the league?
I'd do it.
But Pat,
there's no defense that's going to do it. So
he's
you can't
probably a
have.
top defenseman. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, I've seen Bergeron open yesterday.
Bergeron's a different player. I mean, that's
Ovechkin's open more open than Wawa is when it comes to Philly.
You're talking about an elite
Whoa,
player.
those Wawas in Philly are closing at midnight now.
Oh, really?
That's a safety thing.
Well, more than 7-Eleven.
Hey, Wawa's got good hamburgers, by the way.
Like you want Provorov to stop an elite player. Like a lot of top defenders can't stop Ovi. So you're asking
for.
Sniper, Ovi's a sniper,
yeah,
right?
he's a cleaner. He's a cleaner, man. Like you can't.
Problem stopping him.
Yeah, you can't have even the best defenseman in the league can't stop Ovi. So what do you want him to do?
Yeah, but it's the same. I'm not just saying him in particular, but it's the same play. He gets to the face-off circle.
You can say that to every 31 other teams. 31 other teams can't stop it. So what are you saying? Yeah, that the Flyers going to be a hitch kryptonite? Get out of here.
So Chris's point, where I brought that up too, is you look at the Islanders. That's Pat's favorite team. He always brings up the Islanders and talks and everything. I mean, they're a good. They're a really good team. I think they're a contender this year. If you look at their checking line and you look at their defensive forwards. They're the best in the league at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Hands down, best in the league. They have the best checking line. It's second to none.
Yep.
And I just think if you're going to emulate something and you want to you see these forwards, these defensive forwards, you got to. That's something you should mold them after. Is look for guys like that. Soroka, Matt Martin. You know what I mean? Those guys are really good at what they do, and they. Yeah. Matt Martin's been an underrated player for years. And he's not even a goal scorer. He brings defense. He brings checking. He brings back checking. He's a forechecker. He's an aggressive forechecker. That line's the best line in the league when it comes to that stuff. Flyers don't have that at all.
You're right. They don't have any of those kind of guys like the Dave Poulins type of guys, the Michael Peckers, like all them guys. Maybe they don't score a lot, but they play such a good game defensively.
Mm-hmm.
Desjardins, they don't have that. He was great.
Chemo Teemanins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean,
Braden. What was the guy's Coburn?
Coburn.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Now you got his.
Yeah, that guy was making $4 million a year, which is big money in hockey.
His team has no personality.
No.
There is
when have they? When's the last time this team had a personality?
Back when we had Leclerc and Lindros and Redberg and all those guys. Legion of Doom.
Yeah, yes.
Damn.
So I'm not going to pretend to know hockey, but is that like a common thing? Because I feel like hockey is like that everywhere.
They do not have an identity.
No team has an identity or
identity.
personality.
No, they don't.
They do a shitty job of marketing their players. Like, there's nobody that you're not going, you know what, I got to watch this Thursday night, this matchup between this team and that team because it's going to be amazing. Like, I couldn't tell you, and I'm a casual hockey guy. Like I said, playoff hockey is the best. I'll watch playoff hockey.
Yeah, playoffs.
Regular season, they don't know how to build up
a matchup.
There's not a handful of players in the league where I'm like, I gotta watch this guy play. Like
you don't have like the Gretzky, you don't have Mario Lemieux. Like you don't have those guys anymore. It's just everybody sounds the same.
Right. Well,
I hope now that ESPN has the contract that they do a better job of that.
They will. They'll definitely step.
We live in an ESPN era. Like I truly believe that most people, like not ESPN as a whole, but SportsCenter, like that's where everybody picks and chooses what their opinions are going to be on stuff. Like we live in this forced greatness era where they want to show you like the top 10 and this is the greatest 3-point shot we've seen since 2019. That's like, all right, it was 2 years ago, relax. Like that's the most points we've seen in a game since December of 2020. And I'm like, bro, it was 2 months ago. Like
and
it's forced greatness.
I totally agree because like you see it on ESPN, they kind of dish hockey a little bit. I mean, look, they got what Barry Melrose, who just covers it. Every other league, football.
Well, ESPN went away from hockey.
Right.
So there was a falling out over money. That's why, like, Hockey Night in America used to be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they had a falling out with them over money, and ESPN didn't want to pay for it because the product wasn't all that great. I think it might have been after, like, a strike year or something, and they kind of went their own way and had to find a new network and get a new deal. And
they never got the money.
No,
that's why the salaries are down. They don't get the TV contract.
They sell out in all of their arenas. They do well from a gate standpoint, but they just for the casual person, you can watch any sport and go, I know 10 guys,
right?
Except for hockey.
Right, you only know two, and
Yeah, I'm dead serious.
Yeah,
Like, you couldn't.
that's like they do a bad job marketing their guys, but I mean that right now, I mean, like you say, going to ESPN.
I feel like Crosby's the only name you have.
Crosby,
That's just because you hate him.
Yeah,
right?
That's
but he's
because you hate
good.
him.
But he's
Yeah.
good. I mean, but I feel like that's all you have in
Yeah.
hockey.
And like I've heard people say it's because there's not enough. It's an American thing. Like if you ask Canadians, they know all the Canadian players because it's a prideful thing or whatever.
Yeah, but
like,
you don't have like it doesn't seem like you have a lot of the guys that you used to hate back in the day, like Domi on Toronto.
Yes.
And what was the guy on Buffalo that you couldn't stand?
Matthew
Barnaby.
What's that?
Barnaby.
Yeah, like you don't have those.
and Chris Devereaux.
Yeah,
Barn a
Yeah.
baby.
that is a hockey name, by the way. You have the hockey name 100%.
I know.
Federic.
And he's got to hate the face. No.
Yeah.
Well, listen, look,
They don't have those guys though. There's no marketable guys. Like you would assume like Stamkos a good looking guy. You could market him to women. They would buy into that. Like there's a handful of young guys, but they don't care about promoting their stars. It's game first. And that's why the NBA does such a better job at it. It's players first. The NFL, it's the shield. Like you're not getting past
right,
that.
and
Baseball sucks at it too.
And to your point though, like why people like Crosby's been dominating. Like there's not have been other than Ovechkin like that real dominant player yet.
Yeah.
I mean, Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews are on their way up. I mean, until they win a cup, I mean, it's kind of
And
like
Connor's in Edmonton, so he's not in a marketable.
like baseball
type
should be
thing.
marketing Trout.
Well,
They
I'll
don't.
be honest.
100%.
Hockey,
They don't.
the game itself, hockey has taken a step backward. I was talking about this with Pat on the way in. It's not, the game is just not what it used to be. When you're talking, and I know that there's old folks who used to watch the game in the 70s and early 80s, like as young as I can remember. Like I grew up watching Dave Poulin, Rick Tocchet, Ron Sutter, Hextall, Pete Peters.
Zezel.
Yeah, Peter Zezel. That talking about a defensive forward, that guy was really good at that. But I just think that the game is taking a step back. You don't see rivalries in any sport anymore. The rivalries are kind of dead. They're not as fierce as they used
disagree.
to be. I think
I
that they
disagree.
are
I think
pretty
the
much
one-
There's
dead.
still rivalries that are
they're not what they were.
well, not in hockey, but there's rivalries in like football. We have teams that we get up for. In
It's
basketball,
not
there's
what it
teams
used to
that-
be, in
there's
my
ba-
opinion.
There's teams that we get up for.
You don't get up for the Celtics anymore. They don't get up for the
Because
Celtics
the Celtics
anymore.
suck right now, but if the
Yeah, but
Celtics
I'm
are
just
good, we get up
yeah.
for it.
Yeah,
still either way, you play against the
That's-
Celtics, you got your eye on.
But
If
back
you're-
in the
if
day,
you're
you
a
got
four-
up. It didn't matter if you sucked.
I don't get-
You still
like-
got up for that game.
Like I'm diehard Eagles, but like when we play Dallas now, it's not the same as it used to be. Like
No.
it's like it's like blah.
But when they play the Patriots, you'll get up for it.
No, not now. Well, Brady's not there.
But if he was still there, you
If he
would.
was
Like,
still there, yeah,
there's
a
teams
little
like
bit.
divisional games. You look at it and you go,
Like-
the Redskins can suck, but they're still going to play as tough in a divisional
Yeah.
game. Same thing with the Giants. Like
Yeah,
there's still rivalries. Like
Yes.
but you
I
don't
don't-
have
they're
that.
not as-
You don't have that juice of excitement that you used to have.
Nope.
I
Back
bet you
when
don't
we-
miss a game though.
No, I don't miss the game.
Correct. So that's
But
what
I
I don't miss
rivalry
that,
is.
but I don't miss
I
any
miss-
game.
When we used to have to
Right.
play Michael Irvin and Emmett Smith, like that, like you'd
Yeah,
get so fired up for that
We
game.
go
well-
up against Strahan.
well, that's-
Giants.
But
This
you
is
have
a
more
good
selection.
conversation. I
You
like
have
it.
more selection though, because
Yeah,
back in the day when those rivalries were huge, you had like 6 channels you could watch. So you regionally might have gotten like we can watch every game in the NFL.
Yeah,
right.
Like we're so spoiled. Like I could never explain to my kids that 10 years ago or 15 years ago, unless you had Dish Network or whatever, you weren't getting all of those
yeah,
games.
yeah.
You had to buy the football package was probably the greatest invention.
Well, now everybody
Because you
watches
start
the red
watching-
zone.
Yeah.
Right.
Red zone.
Right.
but like you could only watch, like I used to hate, we'd get the Jets, the
Used
Steelers
to.
on Channel 3. That's it.
Yeah,
And then you would get like occasionally you would get a Buffalo Bills game, like when the Eagles weren't playing. Like you'd only get those regional games. And
Yeah.
if those teams sucked, like your Sundays blew. Like
yeah,
Yeah.
there was you got the Eagles game and that was it. Like I don't want to watch the Jets play the Browns and
yeah.
Baltimore play the Steelers when all the teams are bad. Like,
Yeah,
that's
now
terrible.
today you see everything.
Watch whatever you want.
Yeah,
So I think that kills rivalries.
I think the rivalries are being killed off right now.
I in all 4 sports.
but the
I-
players
like-
don't have the hate for each other
No,
like they
I mean,
did
we-
back in
like-
the day.
Like even for it's weird. Like with us for hockey, like we still look towards the
Pittsburgh,
Crosby,
yeah.
Crosby coming in or Ovechkin. We still look towards that. But I mean, when go to the other sports, we still like the Celtics come here. It's the name that you want to see. The Jason
Yeah.
Tatum's come through here. So for Dak Prescott, whoever the case may be, or so forth. So,
Yeah.
but look, we got to rack it up here. It's just about that time. So, but of course, what I got to do. I got to ask guys. It's Phillies and Braves tonight. What's that? Or I know I'm pretty sure everyone's going to be out watching the Flyers and the Sabres. Besides me, if you're unless you're me because I'm a sports loser. But anyway,
You're a loser. I would.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I like that one.
Yeah, that was good.
But of course, Mark, I'll start with you. What's the meal plan for Phillies and Braves tonight?
I think it's like a teriyaki wings kind of like.
You're a teriyaki wing guy.
Yeah, something different.
Something that mixes it in. Because I know you're a good baseball man. That's where you got to go.
Mhm.
John, what about you?
I haven't had one in a while, but a good roast pork sandwich with provolone and broccoli rabe.
From Nick's Roast Beef?
I don't know,
That
just
sounds
somewhere that
good.
has one good around here.
We just got a Nick's roast beef here
Where?
over on Easton Road
There is?
Yep.
When did that open?
like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
It's only takeout. We'll talk after the show.
All right.
I got you.
Yeah.
I'm going steak.
Yeah, let's go, Steve.
I'm going steak, but I have a question, a meal question. So I put this on my Facebook last night, having a debate with the wife. Is there a difference between a tater tot and a hash brown?
Yes.
I saw
No,
that.
I think it's the same thing, right? I think
No.
it's the same thing.
So
If
I didn't
you-
think this was going to get as much legs as it does, but this post literally has 150
They
comments.
taste different. I don't think a hash
The
brown
same
on-
exact thing. She
Really?
says the same thing. She says that it
Oh.
tastes different. They're different, and I'm like, so my kids are having a sleepover with their cousins, and I said when I get home from the show, we're gonna do some waffles and we're gonna do some bacon, and I said I couldn't find hash browns, so I grabbed tater tots. And she goes, "That's not a breakfast thing." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, tater tots are fine for breakfast or hash browns." And she's like,
It's weird because I
"It
think
totally
the same
tastes the
thing.
same thing."
It probably does, but to
No,
me,
I just-
it doesn't seem like the same thing. Like I wouldn't eat tater
It's
tots
mental.
for breakfast.
It's mental.
No,
No, I
What?
think it's the same thing. One is flat. The other one is just a rounded little nugget.
No,
Yes,
I
you just
know.
added another hour to the show right now.
Wait, real quick. Has anybody tried? Everybody, I'm on a couple cheesesteak pages on Facebook. This place Curly's in Levittown. Has anybody gone there yet?
So they're one of those ones that everybody talks about that they're great cheesesteaks.
Did you
But
try?
I'm not driving out to Levittown
Yeah.
just for a cheesesteak.
I was just curious if anybody
I-
tried.
listen,
it.
everybody talks
Nothing
about
good comes from Levittown, John. Nothing.
That's true. That's very true.
It gets worse the later it gets too.
I don't disagree with that.
No, as a professional slob, I will tell you that I will probably make that drive out to Levittown to try it.
I'm telling. It's called Curly's, and
You
it's
would.
only a
Huh.
takeout place.
They're like routinely in the top 5, like people's rankings.
Yeah, everybody's
Really?
raving.
They talk about
They
how good
say
they
they have all types of sandwiches and stuff,
Gotta
but
check
everybody's
it out,
raving
though.
about their
Yeah.
that
cheesesteaks.
spot that there's a spot that just opened up in where the Blue Duck was,
Oh.
and at Home Circle. It's called Carmela's.
I heard of this.
Everybody's raving about their pizza and their cheesesteaks as well. No good.
Mellas?
Yeah,
No, I don't like their pizza. I don't like it. I think it's too greasy.
You're a Debbie
everything.
Downer.
It's no good. I don't like it.
fair enough.
Preference.
Montesini's in Mayfair Shopping Center. They got great
Circle's
pizza.
close to
Montesini's
me.
good
Yes,
stuff.
yes, that's a good call by you, John.
Yeah.
Very good call.
Hey Pat, why don't we
I
all
go back to the Montesini
in
days,
Mayfair?
hitting
Oh,
gold
yeah,
medal,
yeah, they
and
are
then
good.
going to Montesini's. I don't even think you guys know what
Their
gold medal
stuffed
is.
cheese. They got. I remember they used to have the stuffed cheesesteak pizza. It was awesome.
Yes,
They are good.
Bobby, what's the meal plan for tonight, buddy?
Ooh, I might. You know what, man? I am feeling a buffalo chicken cheesesteak again
Ooh,
from
that
Ambler
sounds
Pizza.
good. That does sound good.
Ooh, and I'll tell you, I
New
think
England
that they have
Pizza
the.
Man. D'Alessandro's makes the best buffalo chicken
I'm
cheesesteak.
here.
Really?
Awesome.
Yeah,
I'll have to give
I
that
agree.
a try.
It's huge.
D'Alessandro's
And it's
is
huge.
top notch
Yeah.
cheesesteaks.
Wow.
Top notch.
Because Ambler
Their
Pizza is
buffalo
pretty
chicken,
good.
and it's like gigantic.
Yeah, they don't
Oh.
hold back on that meat either. They
No.
stack it.
Yeah.
D'Alessandro's
I like
good.
anything that's stacked with
You
meat.
usually can make 2
I bet you
sandwiches
do.
out of that.
Yeah, I will. Man, I'm all over that because I know
Yes.
their cheesesteaks aren't bad. Right?
Yeah.
I know. Listen, as for the gobbler, I'm going to have to go a cheesesteak. You guys got me wanting a cheesesteak tonight.
Yeah.
Phillies Braves.
Did you go to my
Buffalo
buddy's
chicken.
place yet? Stoley's Steaks
Got me
at Bustleton
thinking.
and Byberry.
Mm.
No.
Yeah,
My
they're
brother
expensive.
went there.
I
They're
drive
good,
past there
though.
all the
Yeah,
time, and I didn't know if it was any good.
It's good.
Right at Byberry, it's right on the right hand
Yeah.
side.
Yep.
My buddy from
It's
high
good.
school.
Yeah.
owns it.
It's good, but expensive. You're
Yeah.
gonna pay for what you get though.
but it's
I'm good
good.
with that. I don't mind paying for good food.
Exactly.
No,
But
no,
speaking
no.
of speaking of food, Horsham VFW on Sawmill Lane in Horsham, we're having a pancake breakfast today till 1. $10 for adults, $8 for kids. Come on by, and we'll hook you
How
up.
many pancakes do you got?
I don't know, but I can make sure that you get taken care of. I'll give you one.
Ask for the Pat stack.
The Pat stack.
Yeah, my man here went out to Vegas and got like what is it, red waffle?
So we went off strip. We hit the Uber driver up because I found it online and I went, we're going to this place. I don't remember the name of it. I can look it up. I told him the name and he goes, how do you guys know about that? And I went, the internet. I literally looked it up and I just Googled best pancakes or best breakfast in Vegas. And this thing is like 10 miles outside of the city. It's far. We sat in 110 degree weather waiting to get in this place for 45 minutes. Finally, we got in there. I had red velvet pancakes and they were the greatest breakfast food I've ever eaten in my life. And my wife got s'mores pancakes. And then they give you like the syrup and all that shit. It was phenomenal.
Wow.
Phenomenal.
I'll tell you now, I'll give a plug for this. If you like pancakes, locally there's one in Newtown called Pat's Colonial Kitchen. The greatest pancakes I've ever tasted.
Good spot down the shore for
Where's
pancakes.
Where's this at, Mark?
Pat's Colonial Kitchen in Newtown.
All right.
It's unbelievable.
Another pancake place, Uncle Bill's down the shore.
I've been in Uncle Bill's.
They're pumpkin
There's
pancakes.
an Uncle Bill's here in Philly.
Is
There is?
Yeah. I forget where it was. Where I worked at by GM, the warehouse in Levittown. And Langhorne. There's an Uncle Bill's out there. Still.
Same as the ones down the shore?
Yeah.
I got an
good.
Uncle Billy who's a professional fighter.
Oh, really?
Billy Passamante, yeah.
Nice. I want to punch Chris.
He's a middleweight.
All right, well, listen, gentlemen, we'll have to wrap it up here. It was a great show. I mean, we really brought it today. Thank you, Steve, for joining us.
This was an A show today.
This was the A show. I don't know what
Thanks for
this
having
guy.
me, guys.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Guys, follow the Sarcast Show. Great show. Thursday nights, 6 o'clock. You make you laugh. Check out Steve. Give him a follow, give him a like.
We've got an awesome guest this week. If you guys like, so first off, my show isn't the kind of show that you want to watch with your family.
No, this is your
It gets racy. It gets. We have some good conversations. We talk about like news stories, and we have topics each week, and we try to get guests like mostly people that you'll find on like Facebook, like video influencers and stuff like that. This week we have John from John Breaks Bad News. If you've ever seen anything on the internet that John Breaks Bad News, basically you send him a message and say, I have a friend that I want to break bad news to. You're out of our fantasy league, or you're breaking up with your girlfriend. He'll break the bad news for you, and he does it live on his show, and it is hysterical.
Oh, wow. I could just imagine breaking up with a girl, and that must be fun.
Oh, no, he calls up and he'll go, this is John from John Breaks Bad News. So-and-so wanted me to reach out to you and let you know he's no longer interested in seeing you anymore.
Wow, I like that.
And he said you're ugly.
Oh, my God.
Well,
And that's what he does.
And you got bad breath. Huh?
Yes.
So he's coming on with us this week, and yeah, that's what we do. We have a lot of fun.
All right.
That sounds like
Thursdays
fun.
at 6.
Thursdays at 6. Check out Steve, Double R, Rob Ronnie, the Hot Sauce, Steve Lambert.
Hot sauce.
Hot Sauce. Yeah, look, this is like hockey. You come in here, you get a nickname.
Everybody gets one.
Everyone gets one. You get Mark, the King of Swag. Check him out. Follow him on Facebook. Give him a holler. Give him a friend request. Whatever you got to do. Give John Lieb, the best dude in town. Give him a follow. Give him a friend request. Same thing with Bob Hartnett. And Chris Thedrick, the master debater in the room. All right, give him a follow too. See you guys. Have a good one.
Bye.